Hello everybody, my name is Stacy. Welcome to my channel, The Liminal Space. I'm so grateful for you all coming and checking out this video and this reading. I'm still getting used to my new channel name. I'm hoping people are finding me and that they're liking it. It felt like it was important to make that change, and I'm glad I did. And everything here is still developing and growing and shifting, but I want to continue to bring you readings like I have been, certainly for the Wheel of the Year, which is what we're doing today, and then I'll post a reading later today for the 1st of February as well. But today we're celebrating the turn of the wheel to Imbolc. Imbolc is one of the cross-quarter holidays in the Wheel of the Year. One of the holidays that fall between the solstices and the equinoxes. And so right now we're at that midwinter point where we are right between Yule and Ostara, or Easter. It's classically known as, though the calendar date that Easter is celebrated at in the Christian or in the Abrahamic religions is different than Ostara, but Ostara falls right at the spring equinox, which will be here before we know it, honestly. But this year I'm working with the Gateway Oracle from Denise Lynn. This is a new deck for me, but I have been getting used to it, doing almost daily readings since the beginning of December with it for myself. I still have not pulled every card for myself, and so some of these might be, an interesting thing for me to learn as well. Let me light my candle here, call in spirit with us. Imbolc is based on an Irish celebration around the goddess Brigid, who was adopted or adapted or stolen, depending on how you look at it, into Christianity. And the St. Brigid's Day is based on her traditions, but she was a goddess associated with the hearth. And keeping warm in the winter. The other association that I always feel very drawn to with this holiday is she is a fire goddess. She is a goddess of the hearth, and yet we are in winter. But this is the beginning of the soil waking up, at least in the northern hemisphere where I am, where the ground is starting to soften a little bit. The frigidness of winter is dissipating, and the ground is preparing for spring, which will be coming, at the next turn of the wheel. So I've always felt very tied to this holiday, Imbolc. It feels very important to me, and I just have learned to appreciate all of the 8 turns in the wheel of the year. I celebrate the months as well because that's how our lives are structured in our society. But I think it's really important not to forget that we are on this planet, and this planet has cycles, and we should remember to live in tune with those cycles and nature. So anyways, let's take a look at our cards. I'm going to move the candle, maybe I can keep it a little bit in frame, depending. Shuffle our deck a little bit and see what we got. So for this reading, for these Wheel of the Year readings, I look at 5 cards, and these are messages to us from the elements. So we'll look at the element of earth, water, air, fire, and spirit. And fire comes to mind because, well, I'm a double Leo, so I love the fire signs, but we're also in the midst of a Leo new moon, or a Leo full moon today. So there's lots of big Leo energy. So if you're feeling creative, if you're feeling extra expansive and loving, it's probably channeling through some of that Leo energy. Leo can also be a little bit conceited, a little bit, it's all for me, though really deep down Leos are not like that. They love people around them, and they love to show their love for them, or for their homes, or their animals, or their yard. So let's split the deck and see what we got. Let's look at a card for earth, water, air. I probably will have to move that out of the way. Sorry. Air, fire, and spirit. Let me adjust these just a little bit so they're in frame a little bit better. I'm kind of still working in a little different area for my readings and with different lighting, so maybe I can squeeze a little. Yeah, we'll just know it's there. Well, I just kind of like to have it in frame. See how I am? We'll see. We'll do the best we can. So First of all, I do have a guidebook with me, and this book is by Denise Lynn. This is the Gateway Oracle, again by Denise Lynn, and she has wonderful messages in here that she's channeled through. But I would like to just kind of rely on spirit and the messages internally on the cards to help us through this season. So our message for Imbolc for the element of earth is revealing radiance. And this says, my light illuminates the world. And there's a pearl in a shell. And this is a beautiful card. And I have not drawn this one for myself. So this is gorgeous. Again, my light illuminates the world. And, you know, I think we can all feel that earth is shifting a little bit and her vibration is raising. And with that is an increase in light. And so I think the message that we need to have from Earth is to hold on to that light, especially as we are getting, in the Northern Hemisphere anyways, into days that are longer now. We're past the winter solstice, and now the nights are a little longer, and the morning sunrise is a little sooner than it was. And so the light is illuminating us more and more. So this is a beautiful message from Earth that says, my light illuminates the world. And I do just want to look at this card really quickly if I can find it. This is all alphabetical in here. So I just want to, what this card says here is there is a luminosity within you that's expanding. It illuminates others and brings light to the darkness. Your radiance also acts as a sacred beacon and calls to the bounty and support of the universe to yourself. So sometimes it's hard to be shiny and light filled all the time. The world is challenging. The news is challenging. Even the weather is challenging for so many people across the United States, across the world. Sometimes the things that we can do to bring light are just to smile at the person in the grocery store or wave to a stranger who's driving down the road. Like sometimes those little bits of kindness can bring light in ways that we almost take for granted, but how it can shift everybody's mood upward. So keep that in mind. All right, let's look at what our message is for water. We have expecting miracles, and miracles are blossoming in my life. This is beautiful. This is two hands held. It's a blue lotus. And also this looks like a sun or a pearl in the background, but miracles are blossoming in my life. And I think if we hold to that concept of being positive and spreading kindness and light to others, then miracles will come to us. If you feel joy, you radiate that and then you spread that out. If you feel like miracles are all around you, more miracles will be attracted to you. So keep that in mind. And sometimes a miracle doesn't have to be like huge, like a lottery win or a free car or, you know, some unexpected trip. Sometimes the miracle can just be enjoying the sunrise, because really it is a miracle, the beauty of this world that we live in. And if you take joy in that and then you spread that joy, other people will pick up that joy too, and everybody will feel blessed by that miracle. So let's look at our message from air. Air is healing the past. I feel like this card did show up first before. I know it showed up on my personal readings. I can't remember if it showed up with our Yule reading or not. But the message here is healing the past. And I step into my future with strength and clarity. And one thing that I really like about this imagery for right now, especially for Imbolc, is we have something growing and it's emitting its own light around itself, but it's spreading roots down into the earth. There's little worms down here starting to wiggle around. This is Imbolc. This is what's happening right now to our earth. It's warming up, and even though we can't see that change right yet, the earth is already shifting to a more spring-like, vibrant feeling. And so that's what we have going on here. And this is our message from air. So I step further into my strength and clarity. And sometimes I've actually had kind of a challenging last couple hours. And sometimes I think about air in the sense of positive breath work. Like sometimes when things feel unsteady, unstable, or just chaotic, which the world really is right now, you need to pause and breathe through it. Because when you breathe through it, you expand your entire body, both into the earth and into the heavens. And you control your reactions in that way. And then it can help you find balance. So I think that this is a nice message to us from air. Let's take a look at our message from fire. This is stepping into stillness. And it says, my power is born in the majesty of silence. And that's an interesting message, especially for fire, because fire is not very silent at all. I mean, it can rage, it can cause problems. And when you're by a fire, you always hear the snapping, the crackling, the popping that it makes. Fire is vibrant and alive. But this message to us from fire is telling us that my power is born in the majesty of silence. And sometimes being silent, finding serenity within yourself, is where you gain great strength. You learn about yourself in that way. You learn how to move forward on this journey. Another beautiful card. This is a night sky with a crescent moon. So not at the full moon stage that we're at, but the concept is the same. You know, sometimes we need to be alone. We need to find moments of silence. I mean, even if it's a minute locked in a bathroom away from other people, just to breathe and try to find your center. And it can make the world of the difference, not just for yourself, but the people around you too. So another beautiful message. And let's see what our message is from overall spirit. For overall spirit, we have taking action. This card actually showed up for us on our last reading, I'm positive. Taking action card is, I enthusiastically embrace life's boundless possibilities. And I find it interesting that it comes to us after a card talking about silence, because it feels like a perfect progression. It's sometimes after those moments of silence and clarity that we get an instant idea. We are suddenly like almost overtaken by inspiration. And I feel like that's what it's telling us. I feel like this reading is telling us that overall spirit is through us taking action. And it wants us to embrace things enthusiastically, to be appreciative of the boundless possibilities that are ahead of us in life. So if we just kind of wanted to recap the messages that we have here, from Earth, it's telling us that we can illuminate radiance to other people. And in water, it's telling us to expect miracles. And I think we are the miracle. I mean, we're really a miracle in our own life, but we are definitely a miracle in the life of others. And in many ways, we're a miracle in the life of this planet's cycle. You know, she's shifting, we're shifting. Sometimes and right now, I mean, the world feels hard. I mean, the news always has something terrible on it. I try not to watch the news. I try to avoid watching even the weather, because there's always something kind of unhappy going on. And sometimes I just feel like the thing that we can do is focus on our own lives, focus on what is around us, focus on our family, our friends, our neighbors, our beloved animals. You know, like I'm sure many of us have animal companions in our life. I certainly do. And I'm grateful for them all, for each of their individual personalities, for the gifts that they give me. And I hope that I return those gifts to them with grace and gratitude, like they share their gifts with me. We look at the message from air here, and it is, I step into my future with strength and clarity. And this card, again, I just want to look at it again. It's almost like the pause before things happening. Roots are growing, and there is an energy around this bud that is growing from the ground, but it's not a tree yet. It hasn't gotten there, but it will. So we just need to take a moment to deep breathe, appreciate the future that is before us, because we all have beautiful paths ahead of us and a beautiful, prosperous future ahead of us. And then from fire, we have the stillness card, which, like I said, it's almost an oxymoron a little bit, like, because fire isn't very still at all. But this is telling us that my power is born in the majesty of silence. So our message from fire is just to pause. And, you know, like, I'm looking at my candles burning here. They're gorgeous. Very gentle flames today. Sometimes they are popping and snapping, but right now this is just a very gentle energy, not quite of stillness, but pretty close. And there's beauty in that, and there's serenity in that. And I love the way these candles with 3 wicks burn, because it always gives like that Celtic knot, triquetra imagery in it. I'm just going to set this out of the way for a second. So, and then finally, our message from Spirit, overall Spirit, is taking action. And that is telling us to embrace what's going on, what's coming for us in the future. And one thing I will say about this being for Imbolc season is it's very much like this image here. There's a lot of stuff happening under the ground or behind the scenes, and we can't see it, but it's happening. And so when things suddenly turn around and spring is here, things are going to start to blossom and grow, and then the action comes. So I think that this is leading us to know that by the end of this season, there's going to be a lot of things changing, a lot of things shifting, and a lot of action happening. And honestly, that feels right. Like I feel like this could be an intense energy season. We have both eclipses that will fall in Imbolc season. They've shifted. The nodes will shift into Aquarius now and Leo. I was born with a Leo, a north node in Leo, or my north node is in Capricorn. And so sometimes I can feel very like still and tight, but my sun and moon are Leos. And so I am excited about this shift to the Aquarius Leo transition on our natal charts and in our astrology charts. I think it's going to be really exciting. I hope you guys have enjoyed this reading. I'm trying to keep them a little bit shorter just because I find that everybody's time is valuable, and I appreciate everyone who listens to this, and I hope I've dropped some insight into your life or given you something to think about through the guidance of these cards. And I just hope you all have a wonderful Imbolc season. This is still the time of year to pause and take measure a little bit, but it's when we start taking plans. One of the things that, as I have grown into adulthood, you know, I always came from a family that grew a garden and a big garden, and all my grandparents did as well as my parents. And this is when the seed catalogs start coming. You know, they're preparing you, they're getting you ready. You know, the ground isn't ready for those seeds, but this is when we're making that preparation work to have everything ready when it's time to sow the seeds in the ground. So take this Imbolc season for that, like quiet preparation. That's kind of what I'm bringing through for this season of Imbolc. Quiet preparation. So things can be smooth and still and gentle, but you can still be making plans and taking action in your mind, so you're ready to take action in a more outward way soon. Anyways, thank you guys for coming to my reading. My name is Stacy. I hope you have a wonderful Imbolc season. Blessings to you all.